Now, moving on, we have the Zoval encounter in Azeroth's Fate. Just going to point out here.
Is that some ephemera behind him?
Do you remember that?
Color?
Do you remember shooting, going, ha! And destroying an old god with some of that? Well, yeah. Zoval's just standing in front of it. So that's something. That's Azerite, everyone. That's Azerite.
The jailer was Magni all along.
Whoa. There we go. Oh, don't you be king of diamonds as a pawn. No. So, but when you actually go into some of the Zoval's, and again, we're in Spoiler Town here, as you all know, the Zoval encounter in Azeroth's Fate.
Yeah.
So, Desolation. Zoval launches a volley of missiles at Azeroth.
Just straight, I don't know.
There we go. He's got those ephemera hypersonics just going to fuck us up.
Yeah, just ICBMs.
Yeah, so decreasing Azeroth's health by up to 20%, but the missiles can be intercepted by each player, inflicting 60 shadow damage, so not much of a problem then.
Well, just the Maw-Walker missile interception system online, like.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's that. Apocalypse Bolt inflicts 5% of Azeroth's max health and shadow damage. Defile. Remember that, everyone? Annihilation. So Val unmakes existence, killing everyone except for him.
That's what Argus did.
That's what Argus did. That's that's taking your Thanos meter and kind of dragging it over to the 99 point a lot of nines. So yeah, our phase names, we have Origin of Damnation, Machine of Origination. Hey, I kind of had that in my proposal for this fight. Actually, it's quite funny. While this is all very different, this Zoval fight is in a few ways, very similar to the proposal I came up with, which was, more than anything, a bit neat to see, I suppose. Unholy Attunement, and then The Unmaking. Now, we've got to talk about this. Is there any more Azeroth stuff in this doc?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so this is where we are in the Azeroth business. Yep. Right, so Zoval is standing in front of a big thing of Azerite. I believe there's quite a few Azerite references. I think it's Samaya at Keyboard Turn on Twitter, and the other one, I forget the name, who were doing a bunch of the data mining, posting the screenshots. It just seems like there's a bunch of Azerite business going on. At the same time, we see, of course, Zoval standing in front of a big beam of Azerite. There's all this talk about the Great Cycle as well in some of the things. Now, the Great Cycle, wow.
Wow.
Grimoire of the
Research Life.
Shadowed Lands. Now, let's take a look. Here's the Great Cycle, right, everyone? With spirit, fire, water, earth, decay, air in the center. Is that... What are you two? What are you and you?
All just loads of planets.
Well, that's Azeroth. I mean, there's the Eastern Kingdoms, right? Like, the A is that big bay where, the Wetlands and the Menethil Harbor and etc. are. So Azeroth is at the center of the Great Cycle, and inside Zereth Mortis, from within Zereth Mortis, Zoval is able to directly attack Azeroth. Yeah. Now that says to me, this is all... oh shit, this is a 5-dimension space represented in a 3D and a 2D and Matthew McConaughey's floating around inside in a spacesuit with a little mech, and it's all very confusing, and what's going on? Very confusing. This is all pocket dimensions. This is all cosmic origami that breaks how your mind thinks. But basically, is Zereth Mortis inside Azeroth? Is the Shadowlands inside Azeroth? But not literally inside Azeroth. I mean, in some sort of weird metaphysical sense. Is it a plane sneaked within a thing, inside a thing, inside a thing? Because, hey, the Great Cycle, Azeroth's at the center. At the very center of the sepulcher of the first ones. The engine room where the first ones are 3D printing gods. We have a big beam of Azeroth blood power.
Yeah.
Now, this very much says to me that whatever's going on here is very core to Azeroth. Of course, Azeroth has been sort of proposed as this kind of like Omni-Titan, the big Titan, the most powerful of all of the Titans. Does that mean that the Titans really are sort of like offshoots of other... maybe that's not a thread worth throwing right now. Another curious thing, Azeroth consumed the element of spirit when she was just slurped her up. So that's there was no spirit, and that's why all the other elements in Azeroth were like thrown into thrown out of balance, and why all the elemental wars and stuff went on.
Yep.
So basically, this just means Shadowlands is kind of like the center of the universe in a way, at least from this broker perspective. And that is very much something that is backed up by, what we see here. Zoval comes from the soul of our world, and he does it via Zereth Mortis, not by going to Azeroth.
Yeah.
That shows just something bloody fundamental.
Yep.
I mean, Azeroth is clearly the thing that is basically powering the thing that created the Shadowlands. And the big, the big circle that makes afterlives.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to... Saint Peter, Saint Printer. I need to work something properly out there.
Oh, my goodness.
So, that's, a bunch of nerdy shit.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
It's all interesting. Little brain teasers. Don't know if the emotional resonance is going to be there for people if they find out that all those cool stories you had was, just sort of sitting on top of the big lump of coal that's fueling the afterlife, the 3D prints gods, but we don't know what it is yet. These are just the early speculations, and I will say it is a riskier way to take it. I mean, anytime a team decides to verge a bit closer to explaining the mystery, I think everyone involved in storytelling knows that, you better watch out. That's harder to do than keeping it mysterious.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess without seeing what this actually looks like as a fight, I would say I'm thoroughly disappointed in the presentation of it. Because obviously, I don't think we know when these attacks come in. Whether they're in Phase 3 or in Phase 2 or in Phase 1 or whatever we're talking about. But intermission or Phase 3. I imagine Phase 3. So we don't know what that looks like because this isn't a complete build. But, could be a massive manifestation of Azeroth that comes to help us, and he's trying to, hit it literally, as opposed to hitting this non-corporeal soul of sorts. There's also a chance that, he's shooting stuff at the planet and we're blocking it. That would be weird because, you'd have to do with he lands one and then we go back and say, nope, that didn't just wipe out a city. No, sir, let's not think about it. But it's the thing where this stuff is going to be so metaphysical, I just don't know if it's going to resonate at all. And I mean literally in terms of presentation, not even in terms of concept. I mean in terms of how does that thing there on screen feel like it's the jailer about to destroy Azeroth? How does it feel that way? It's a kind of thing where, Sargeras hitting Azeroth was fucking terrifying because he was big and had big sword.
Yeah.
That is at least visibly, like, you can see that and go, oh, I understand and feel what's happening.
And the last two expansion finales have been strange machines we don't really understand.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a different narrative direction to really post Legion. Just a bit different.
Yeah. And let's not think about how they could do it even more interesting.
Oh.
And even weirder.
Oh dear, Matt has thoughts.
So I don't know, not just thoughts. I have no source for this because Dakor said he saw someone talk about it and I didn't ask him for the source. I went, oh, that would be interesting, and didn't think about it any further. But he was saying there was some file change around an N'Zoth tentacle. And I was thinking, well, if we're seeing the source of all creation here, will we have a redo of the Gahoon situation where we're loafing around the Sepulchre, we're looking around the Forge of Afterlives and stuff, Zoval's 3D printing himself some new Eternal ones, his new friends. Is there a chance we'll spot hints around those little tentacles? Will we see that the first ones created the old gods, or we're creating something like the old gods? And then will this all be a ploy to have N'Zoth be hidden in the machine of origination? Because that's how we killed him, but we didn't kill him, did we? Maybe, who knows? So that's a big thing. It's a big thing where they're probably going to start hinting old god stuff back to try and bring us back down. And it was N'Zoth the whole time. It was the N'Zoth jailer N'Zoth.
I'm down. No, tentacle me up. I'm down. I'm down. If we can just say that this was all a very, very smart plan by N'Zoth, and actually N'Zoth was fiddling the jailer all along, maybe that's just the way we could put this all to bed.
Yeah.
And at least have it still be rooted in a classic sort of Azerothian villain.
Dakor said it was a Yogg-Saron tentacle.
Oh.
So that's at least more interesting.
That is more interesting.
God of Death, first ones, Shadowlands, making afterlives. I'm tired. My brain's tired.